Bam. What up, Yang Yang? What's up, Vaughn? Yeah, Tom just finished his live stream on his channel. He'll be here in a few minutes. I'm just trying to get everything set up for Tom once he gets here. Yes. There we go. And there's Tom's banner. Good deal. All right. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about some good stuff tonight, guys. Yeah, I'm really excited about this too, Vaughn, because Tom's one of my favorite. I'm actually a member of his channel. I donate to his Patreon. I donate to the ofthepeople.us, his website. I think he's doing good things, man. So I'm 100% a fan of nerds, man, for sure. But he'll be joining us here in a few. I'm just trying to get things set up before we cover these articles. Let me get out of here. Sorry, guys. Still trying to get things together. All right. So Tom's just getting him a cup of tea. Let's see here. Oh, I gotta share this out there too on YouTube. Let's see here. Make sure this isn't the volume's not on. Okay. So share it on Twitter. Okay, sorry guys, there we are. Okay. Then I gotta invite Mia. Okay. There we go. All right, man. Yeah, what's up, Soldier? Rwanda? I don't get that. Yeah, brother. We're just Tom be here in just a few minutes. We're gonna go over the news, man. Tom's just good people. So Vaughn says Fred, Russell, me, and Tom are his favorite humans, and I appreciate that, man. That is a great list to be associated with for me, honestly, because I'm a big fan of all those people. We've all been doing this shit for a couple of years now, you know. So exactly, we gotta give him a big fat hello, nerds, when he comes in. Actually, I'm gonna make a banner for that. That'd be fun. Oh, that didn't work. Let's see how this looks. Okay, that didn't work either. That don't look right. What's up, Tom?
What's up?
I'm just trying to make you a good banner.
I love it.
Hello, nerds. Yes. Oh,
hey,
man.
I can go, boys. I can go for about an hour. Is that okay with you?
That works. Yep.
All right, because my wife reminded me that we have to do a deep cleaning of the house, and she assigned me all the bathrooms. Bless her soul.
I thought your wife's going to be like, my wife reminded me to look at my left index and ring fingered.
Oh,
get your ass up here.
Well, they're related. If I don't clean the bathrooms, I don't know. I might be sleeping in the basement.
It's going to lose some shine, huh? But yeah, if you look in the private chat, I have 3 articles I was wanting to go over. The LA Times has a city council that is doing a $88 million spending bill for a UBI in their city.
I don't see anything in the private chat. Maybe it didn't show up until I joined.
Oh shit, that's probably true. Let me. Oh, okay. Let me copy that. Copy.
I'm gonna have to give you my hot take. I did not have a chance to read those articles, but
that's okay. Sure. I just skimmed them. I just literally had to drop my daughter off at work and get my ass back home by 1.
Family life, man.
You got it. Okay, so there's the 3 different articles. It's yeah. What I normally do is just introduce the idea and go over the article. I got a couple other things I linked into a Google Doc about certain people's tweets in regards to HR1 specifically. I want to talk about. That's a big one. Yeah, of course, we got people saying hello, nerds everywhere. Can you see the comments?
Let's see.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Okay.
Oh yeah, there's some NFH members like Vaughn
right.
and Elizabeth Norris. That's cool. Soldier.
That's what I was telling them. I was like, I have a reoccurring payment to ofthepeople.us.
Yeah.
I have, and you're one of the few channels I actually donate to, honestly.
I appreciate that, man.
Because I just think you're doing consistent work, and that's needs to be recognized.
Thank you. Well, all that, as you know, all that money just goes back into more content and trying to grow the audience for hopefully Yang 2028 or 2024.
Yeah, something.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try and get my butt out there to LA, New York, hopefully in June. And
nice. I would love to get out there too.
Let's go.
Yeah, I just interviewed one of the OTP candidates on NFH, so it was a fun kind of crossover. The 2 efforts kind of reinforce each other.
Yeah, she's in Virginia, right?
Yeah, she was pretty impressive, actually. I thought she was pretty good.
Yeah, I had time to listen to it a little bit while I was driving between taking my daughter here and there and her wanting to hear me talk to her. But yeah, so let's do the HR1 one first because I feel like that's the most important one. I put the LA Times in there, but not the other one. Okay, that's the problem. I didn't see it. But HR1 is pretty obvious. That's a big deal. Okay, HR1. There it is. Oh, that's the Fox News article. Okay. Yeah, I want to take a Fox News source specifically for that one. So let me share my screen. Okay. Fox. Where'd you go, Fox? Wait. Yeah, that was on the Democrat. Yeah, that's perfect. Gotcha. Sorry, guys. Trying to be efficient here. Okay, yes, we got the Fox News article. Perfect. Yeah, 1 Democrat in the House voted against it. I'm like, what an asshole. You just screwed yourself, son. But he's in Mississippi, so it's a very red, rural. They might like
Mississippi is a different environment. Yeah, for sure.
Boy. Yeah. I did just get reelected, honestly.
Yeah. I follow this congresswoman from Colorado, Lauren Boebert. She was very, very much against this bill, and it's so interesting how I think the Trump Republicans are trying to really make a big deal out of HR1, but I don't think it's catching fire. Like the resistance is not galvanizing the way I think a lot of the Trump Republicans want it to, because when you read the bill, it's, in my opinion, it seems quite reasonable.
Yes, it's not just reasonable, it is necessary.
Yeah.
So let me go ahead. I just do the quick intro and I'll pitch it over to you. We'll talk about the article,
by the way, it says we're live already. Is that not true?
Yeah, okay. I go live while we're just people kind of see how the sausage is made, kind of.
Okay.
And then I make clips once we get going, so I actually do a separate intro and outro for each one, so I can chop it up later.
Wow. Cool.
So I figure live streams how you build a community, clips is how you get views, and kind of have that approach. You do clips on yours too, don't you?
I do. The last couple of weeks I've been so slammed with work and family, I haven't had time to do the clips, but I agree with you. It's totally like a great way to get more reach without having to, create a ton of new content. But it is time to kind of, clipify it and export it and all that stuff.
I'm at this computer editing video almost every night, so about 10 or 11 at night every night.
Isn't it nuts how much time it takes, right?
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yep. But I got it down.
Love it.
Okay. You ready, Tom?
Let's do it.
Here we go. Timer is set. All right. The sausage is made pretty awesome. That's actually pretty, sorry. All right. Bam. What up, Yang Gang? We got a special day for you today. We got Tom from Nerds for Humanity, NFH for short, is joining us for the daily news today. How you doing, Tom?
I'm good. And I want to thank you boys for also being a supporter of OTP of the People, which is the side project kind of nonprofit effort that I'm working on. Absolutely. And I'm glad to be here and excited to chat with you.
Boom. Ofthepeople.us.
Support it. Check it out. And if you know of any candidates who are running that aren't on there, please tell them to just put themselves on there. It takes 5 minutes, helps them get more exposure.
Perfect. All right. So the first article we're going to talk about is going to be the Fox News article here about the Mississippi Representative Benny Thompson, who explains why he was the only Dem to vote against the massive H.R. 1 election bill. So it's no shock that this is a very partisan vote, because H.R. 1 is very, very comprehensive, massive changes to increase voter turnout. It's automatic voter registrations. You don't have to opt in. You have to go in these special hoops to vote, to learn to vote or to register. It gives every state access to mail-in voting. There's a whole bunch of things that it really does do. And actually, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I find it very interesting that in politics, people it reminds me of Obamacare, where like you can get people to be against Obamacare, but then when you tell them what's in it, they're actually for most of the provisions.
Right.
So I've encountered, especially on Twitter, a lot of people who are vehemently opposed to H.R. 1, saying it's the end of democracy as we know it. And then when you read the bill, you're like, wait a minute. Okay, there's same day voter registration, early voting, easier to register at the DMV, verified paper ballot provisioning, campaign finance reform, matching small donations 6-1.
That's a huge one.
Requiring independent commissions to draw congressional district lines
every 10 years.
What's not to like? This is all very reasonable. If you love democracy, then you should be supportive of H.R. 1, in my opinion.
Well, and that's the thing I'm seeing is most of the pushback on Twitter and other forums is people saying that it's really people doubling down on their ideology. This will make it easier to steal a vote than ever.
I guess they're tying it to the whole stop the steal kind of conspiracy theory. But what about the anti-gerrymandering, the 6-1? I mean, the 6-1 matching is great. I mean, shouldn't we wash out the influence of rich donors? Like this should be a bipartisan thing. Like I would not be surprised if Trump had proposed something like H.R. 1. People would be like, "Oh, this is the greatest thing ever."
Yeah, get money out of politics, y'all.
Yeah.
But I just want to kind of bring up it's this long article about why he voted no against them. But I want to quote this guy. He says right here, my constituents opposed the redistricting portion of the bill as well as the section on public finances. Thompson said in a statement to Fox News, I always listen and vote in the interest of my constituents. The legislation requires states to establish independent redistricting commissions to carry out a once-a-decade withdrawing of congressional districts in an effort to avoid partisan gerrymandering. And it talks about the public financing system for small donor donations. It's just all these different things, right? So I have an actual Twitter thread I want to show you guys too. So there's people on the right that talk about how demonizing it is. Then there's people on Twitter like Nina Turner who make it very easy to see what it does. Here it is. H.R. 1.
Yeah, nice.
Enact automatic voter registration and gerrymandering, set up public finances of elections, expand early voting, prevent voter purges. That's a big one too. Expose dark money and counter Citizens United. The bill is enormously important. We need to end the filibuster. So she spells it out perfectly clear right there. That gives you everything you need to know without diving into it and having to read the article or the bill itself, which is like 600 pages.
Yeah. And, that congressional redistricting stuff is, if you're a Republican, you should be in support of anti-gerrymandering, because when the Democrats control a state, they do just as much gerrymandering as the Republicans do.
Absolutely.
And so having a commission that requires 5 Democrats, 5 Republicans, and 5 independents to agree on the district lines seems like it's it's in everyone's interest. The only people that would be against this are the people who really are vested in this kind of polarized duopoly.
Yeah. Who stands the most?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the thing. Like I really, it is frustrating that people can be opposed to a bill, and I'm not expecting them to read all 600 pages, but maybe read the 1-page summary. Just go on Wikipedia, read the key provisions, and but that's not where we are as a democracy right now. I think we basically, like, there's a lot of bumper sticker analysis, and that's it's hard to make the right calls in complex topics with just like, I'm against freedom, I'm pro freedom. It's never that simple.
Well, and something else that Mia pointed out that I forgot to mention here is that he actually helped write the bill. So yeah, thanks, Mia. Where'd it go? There it is. Oopsie, that's a weird way of doing it.
Oh, he was a co-sponsor.
Yeah, he's a co-sponsor, part of the legislation along with the rest of the Democratic caucus. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, now in this guy's defense, you could take the position that the role of a congressperson is simply to reflect the opinions of their constituents.
Right.
But I kind of feel like, well, if you're in Congress, you're not, if that were your role, then we could just do the Swiss model and have a referendum on all major bills.
Direct.
So you're supposed to exercise judgment, and you're supposed to reflect the values and goals of your constituents, but you don't need to take a poll for every single bill, because your constituents probably didn't read the 600 pages either. But maybe in theory, you, having co-written it and having a staff, and that's your full-time job, you should really think about it and then do the right thing for your country and for the district. But he's probably worried that he'll get that this will be brought up against him when he tries to run for re-election. And if all of his constituents are like listening to Fox and stuff, then that's trouble for him.
That's what I worry. That is this a move on him, on his own political career? Like, as far as securing himself to be a centrist Democrat, to be the Joe Manchin of Mississippi.
Yeah, Joe Manchin. Then there was that senator from Arizona who voted against the minimum wage, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, on the one hand, I like the fact that the Democratic Party has at least some voices that, it's a pretty diverse spectrum.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you worry that even these blue dog Democrats probably are he's probably for HR1 as a co-sponsor of it, but he feels like he's being held hostage by this kind of like machine that drums up outrage and grievance.
Yeah.
And, like you get the Lauren Boeberts and Marjorie Taylor Greenes who they do not go deep into policy, as far as I can tell. I think they're very much just one-liners.
If you're letting 2 conspiracy theorists affect how you do your job, you're not doing a very good job. That's
yes. And the one wrinkle there is it's not just 2 conspiracy theorists. Like I think I saw a poll that said 1 out of 3 Republicans believes that Trump won by a landslide.
He has 30% control over the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. Let's just be honest. And also, Trump actually did a cease and desist order to the RNC and to the Republican PAC. The Republican Party's fundraising people. He actually wanted to do a cease and desist to make them not be able to use his name for fundraising. You got to donate to his PAC for him to help.
Right.
Nominated.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Like, he's kind of seizing money and control from the RNC, and he's like, no, there's no RNC. It's the Trump National Committee. The TNC.
Well, we have Matt Nelson here in the comments section. I'm gonna bring this up. He's the Republican chair of my hometown. He said one of the problems with HR1 is federalism. Voting is supposed to be powers left to the states and not Congress. I 100% agree with that a little bit, because forcing election laws, election are state-ran ventures. But we can also say that about the Equal Rights Act. Like, slavery is, ended, so you have rights to vote. So there is a gray area. So it's one of those things where I kind of agree. That's one of the criticisms I had of it, is saying that the federal government is telling every state how they got to run their elections. So I do see that kind of as a pushback moment. That's worth at least discussion.
Yeah. I mean, I would take the position. Now, I tend to be further along, kind of slight bias for federalism, to the extent that, yes, states should have a lot of autonomy to express their views and run their states and all that kind of stuff. Got it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But in terms of the most basic act of this country, like what makes America truly great, is that everybody has a vote, and everybody should have a voice in their representation. And the definition and ease and fairness of access to that ballot box seems to me to be something that supersedes any individual state's kind of interpretation of democracy. Because, take it to an extreme, like, I probably would not be able to vote in some states had it not been, the federal civil rights effort and at the federal level. So, yeah, I get it. I get that states don't want, like, DC running their lives, but you got to let your people vote, right? Everybody should have a voice.
I think the easiest pushback on that was my initial reaction was the federal government is overreaching. Mm-hmm. My initial conservative side of my brain's like, wait a minute, this state ran elections, but state runs elections, yes, but they don't decide your rights. Voting rights is a constitutional thing. So to me, it's a federal thing when it comes to voter registration, when it comes to voting rights. So the federal government should be able to say, no, you can't suppress votes. You can't purge people from your voter registry. It's not right. It's unconstitutional. You're making it harder to vote. That's part of what's great about this country is voting. You're born with the right, or you earn that right through whatever channels comes about, right? So to me, that's where I would push back on that, Matt, is voting rights is a federal thing. It's a constitutional thing. You can't take people's voting rights away.
I would also call out, and I'm not saying Matt, I don't know Matt, but there are definitely some Trump Republicans who are vehemently opposed to HR1, saying, hey, the federal government shouldn't get involved in elections. But those same people were saying that Vice President Pence, as the vice president of the federal government, should not have accepted the state's certified results from the presidential election.
There's some mental gymnastics right there. And that's federal.
So it's like, wait, what happened to states' rights? So I don't know, like,
it's a slippery slope. It's a weird, murky line, but
I feel like politics right these days, it's like, if you took away the capital R and capital D, it would not make a lot of sense how is this person who's like for law and order now okay with, like, what they call the peaceful protests inside the well of the Senate? Like, and it's just so weird how, and I'm sure Republicans will call out hypocrisy on the Democratic side too.
Oh, because it's real.
Yeah, so I'm not saying either party's perfect, but it's just I just wish people would focus on solving problems and be logically consistent. And I know that's naive, but it would be nice if we could get closer to that someday.
Well, my biggest thing is the voter registration is obvious to me, but the one is the publicly funded rewarding small grassroots donations. It's the cap on that is $200 per individual. So most you donate an individual is $200, and they'll match up to six times. That's $1,200.
Mm-hmm.
So our tax money, you'd pay $200, I'd pay $200, but the federal government would kick in our tax money because money is power, is representation, is our voice. They would match. They give our money back to that candidate in the form of $1,000 or $1,200 more dollars. So that's the cap on that too, guys. There's a lot more details in there, but we don't have time to really nitpick over it. But this is a must. It's got to happen.
I think it's great. I think it's great, and I hope it happens. And I'm sure the House is going to pass it. I guess it will come down again to, that 50-50 Senate. Thank God. By the way, I think we should acknowledge that the great people of Georgia saved our ass by at least can you imagine if we didn't have those 2 Democratic seats in the Senate right now? We get nothing done.
Nothing's done.
So kudos to Georgia.
Yes, 4 years of stalemate. Just a lame duck for 4 years.
Thank you very much.
And thank you to everyone out there knocking on doors.
Yeah.
And
old Andrew was down there. It was great.
Stacey Abrams deserves all the credit in the world for taking a loss like a champ, like a true leader. She didn't complain. Well, she complained a little bit because they did kind of shut down some of her stuff, right? But when it's done is done. She said, you know what? There's no point in talking about it. I'm going to make sure this never happens again by getting people out there to vote. And that's Stacey Abrams deserves. I'm not the biggest Stacey Abrams fan, but she deserves all the credit in the world for what she did in Georgia. That is significant.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing all of us can agree on is that had Stacey Abrams not worked so hard on voter registration and voter activation, the Senate would not be Democratic right now, and we would not have passed the stimulus, and we would definitely have no chance of getting HR1.
Mm-hmm. So, I think it's important to say that HR1 is symbolic because it means it's your number one priority coming out of the House of Representatives, right?
Yeah.
So it's symbolic. It really needs to happen. This is almost a virtue signal. Say this is what we stand for. Period.
Yeah.
Let's get everybody on record who's for it, who is against it. So you have one turd in a toilet bowl in Mississippi that decided to, I don't know, vote in his own interest, I guess, not for the interest of his people. But yeah, guys, we'd love to hear more about this in the comment section from you. And are you for it? Are you against it? Give us a like, share, and a subscribe, and all that normal business we say at the end, right? But also, while we're here, guys, the big thing is, Tom, of the people.us.
Yeah.
Candidates, man. So we got to make sure you guys go check that out. If you have a local candidate, like I'm going to talk to my local candidates and be like, hey, have you heard about this? You should go check this out. It's a way of finding resources and volunteers. Go ahead and tell people what it's about, Tom.
So basically, it's like Yelp for local candidates. And the premise behind it is that if you want better representation in Congress and in the Senate, you need more competition. And if you want more competition, one way is you get more people to run for Congress, but it's a long shot because congressional races are super expensive. So the other angle for other people is to support candidates who are actually running for local offices like city council or state assembly or county commissioner, those kinds of things, because that is the NCAA D1 of who gets picked and drafted to run for Congress. And interestingly enough, those local races are won and lost by sometimes just a few hundred votes. And their total campaign budgets are usually just a few $1,000s. So when you think about all of us, like, can we get someone into Congress in a really expensive media market? Very, very hard. Can we get someone in that same geographic area to get on the city council, mayor, or county commissioner? Way higher probability. And then after they get there, they have a better chance of making it into Congress. So the best thing that folks can do is if you see anyone running for office, please ask them to list themselves on Of the People, because if you're for us as a project, we need critical mass. And right now we have 13 candidates. So that's really exciting just for the first, couple months of being live. And we'd love to see that grow. And we'll be adding new features. Like we added filtering, we added external links, embedded videos, and there'll be more kind of features coming. It's an all volunteer effort. And it's built by a few people who in their day jobs work in the tech industry. So like, we are not worried about executing in terms of building the technology, but we do need people to help us spread the word and get more candidates listed.
Okay, we got to do it, guys. There's your action item, Yang Gang.
Yeah, if you recruit one candidate for OTP, you'll be doing a huge job, not just for that candidate, but for the whole effort.
That's right. All right, guys. So go do your thing. Talk to your candidates and get them all over there, man. We got to get this, like you said, Tom, critical mass.
Yeah, it's free. Takes them 5 minutes.
Yep. All right, guys. So that's it for this one. We'll talk to you guys later. And like always, Yang Gang.
Gang gang.
Cut. All right. So I want to bring in Mia. Mia was waiting patiently backstage. What's up, Mia?
Hey, Mia.
So we'll do a 3-person thing now for the next one. So the whoopsie daisy.
Good to see you again, Mia.
Good to see you too, Tom.
All my peeps are together.
I mentioned to Cece about Of the People, by the way. She's currently the volunteer organizer for Humanity Forward. So
awesome.
Maybe we can get it into the forward flyer, but she said we're not focusing around electoral politics right now.
Mm.
But she'll find some other way to work it, and I will contact you when she figures that out.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I'm gonna try and help you network as much as I can.
Thank you.
That's what's up. Yeah. So okay. So the next one to talk about is the UBI project in LA, or not Los Angeles. Where is it at? Let me. It's not Los Angeles. It's a city.
It's in the LA Times.
Yeah, it's LA Times. Let me look through here and see where the hell is it at.
LA City Council.
Oh, it's LA City Council. Yeah, it's LA.
Yeah. But it doesn't look like. Is it UBI or is it? It says
here. It's down
youth
here.
and recreation.
No, it's where to go. It's 500 people gets $1,000 a month for 1 year. Oh shit. Oh man, where's it at? It's in here somewhere. I read the article earlier. Maybe it's a different article I read.
There it is. There it is. 500 households.
Single parents in Price's district would receive $1,000 a month for 12 months.
Among other things, apparently, but 6 million, that's nice.
But look at this one. This I like too. Oops, you fucker. There. Additional 7.5 million would go to a fund dedicated to paying for an unarmed response to homelessness and nonviolent calls, according to budget polices. So police. Jeez, I said polices. Jeez, voice.
This is a really thought out thing here. Like, there's a lot of good stuff that I saw in this.
What it is it's the type. It's like taking the idea of defund the police and go into better policing. So that's the whole point. Yeah, and Ryan says here, I want to say it was a certain district. Yeah, it's the one person's district. Oh shit, where'd it go?
South LA.
Yeah, it lists the person's name though. So I don't like to read the whole article like in a row. It's just people can read it themselves. There it is. The mayor is Eric Grassetti. Yikes. But yeah, so it's just a great article. So let me just drop that out here. Okay. So let's go ahead and just jump into it. That's a big deal. I love this article. All right, you guys both ready? Tom, you still got 30 minutes?
Born ready.
There we go. Mia, you good? All righty. I'll do some creative editing now that I've never had to edit the Twitter handles anyway, because normally after I put everybody's Twitter handles under their pictures. But anyway, that's just me thinking out loud. All right. Bam. What up, Yang Gang? We're back for another article. Today we're going to be talking about the UBI pilot being funded in LA's South LA district. I can't remember which one it is, but there is an article from LA Times talking about 500 single parent families getting $1,000 a month for 1 year. And this is in response to defunding the police. We're going to take some money from the police budget and take it and help people. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the article real quick and a couple of highlights. And the links will be in the description box for this article. So it's devoting $88 million to youth and rec programs, neighborhood beautification initiatives, job and business programs, nonprofit services, and more. But here's the best part is the mayor tried to veto it. But then he got overridden, which is, democracy, baby. But yeah, it talks about this additional 18 million will be allocated for homeless prevention and homeless services, including eviction defensive services, jobs, and outreach to workers. And then $32 million reflects the spending priorities of 6 council districts. But it doesn't list the damn districts in here, specific ones. But yeah, so in the article, I got to scroll down to show you guys where it actually lists the details of it. Here it is. So in the initial plan, total of 500 households, single parents in Price's district, it doesn't say what district that is, receive $1,000 a month for 12 months. And then an additional 7.75 million would go to fund dedicated to paying for an unarmed response to homelessness and nonviolent calls, according to budget officials. So I think this is huge. First, democracy is working. One person can't take control of the entire district. There's a push. There's the checks and balances, but I think it's pretty cool. And it's happening in LA with a huge homeless community. And Tom, you live in San Francisco, so you guys have some of that in your own area as well, right? Or you live outside of San Francisco, right?
I live south of San Francisco in the suburbs, so we luckily have not seen as much of a homeless issue here, but definitely in the city, it's like another world. You drive like 30 minutes north of me, and it's like two Northern Californias.
Yeah, tent city.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily here, Mia's up in northern Michigan. Homelessness isn't as rampant because it's freaking cold.
Yeah. But we do have homeless shelters.
Yes. Yeah, you can't afford to be homeless too much in northern Michigan and not freeze your butt off. But yeah, I like this defund the police in action type of, here's a proof of concept, if you will, to say that we're going to fund a UBI for 500 single parents. That is some means testing, but it is what it's a pilot nonetheless. Do you guys have any pushback on any of these types of approaches?
I honestly do not like to criticize people funding money that they're giving out of their own pockets or that they're giving to people who need it for free. As when you have a limited population that you can give to, you do have to choose somehow. Lottery seems like it could work, I guess, but it's important to outreach to people who really need help in times like these. So I think I don't have any problem with people selecting so long as their means are limited. If it were the government, I'd be very upset about the means testing. They've got different means. They've got a different pool to pull from, but individuals and smaller states and districts and such, they have to make the choices they have with the budgets they have.
Yeah, I'm curious, how big is the district? And then what's the percentage that 500 represent? Is it 1/10? Is it 1/10 of a tenth? It's a huge district out there in LA, so I doubt it's even a 1%. It's probably 1/10 of a percent or something. But
if I had a magic wand, I would rather. I think it's like 77 million or 88 million or something for this whole effort. And the UBI pilot's like just 6 million of it or something like that.
Right.
I'd rather, as an example, I know this is going to be controversial, but
yes,
7 million for the unarmed response thing. I'd rather just add another 500 families and make it 1,000 families in the UBI pilot, because I bet a lot of that domestic violence and domestic disturbance and low-level crime is because of economic despair and lack of like a local economy that gives people chances. And so you do worry a little bit, like for these UBI pilots, if they're too small, like if you take it to an extreme, if you give one family out of like 100,000 families UBI, like it's not going to affect the community. Like there needs to be some minimum critical mass, which is why I like Yang's, trying to get 500,000 people enrolled. Obviously LA, different resources, and this is a much more localized issue, but Yeah, I would love to spend more money on that UBI pilot. And I worry that if it's too small, and then people will say, look, it didn't do anything, and we'll never know. It's sort of like doing like a vaccine test with like 1% of the dose.
Yeah, it didn't flatten the curve. Stop.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it still does help those families individually, and we've
seen that
through multiple pilots. So we will get positive results from them, but we always do, and they're the same positive results we always get. So it's not like it's proving anything new. We do need larger population sizes to get any new data on how that would help, communities and.
Yeah, I agree. Like the individuals will for sure, I think, show that it has a positive impact. I worry a little bit that we won't see the second order benefits, which I think is kind of part of the magic.
The societal ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it said this is initial. So they could seek more funding from different sources. So
and you got to start somewhere. Yeah.
So I think this is a good start because they're starting the funding for a UBI pilot. They're also starting a fund to curb criminal murder by the police. Police don't need to show up for homelessness encounters and domestic violence. So there's no, they shouldn't be the lead. That's what I would say is send a social worker or a mental health professional to be the lead on the contact of a dispute like that, where there's mental health problems. And then the cop can be there for backup and can be asked, hey, shut that shit down. That dude's getting kind of making me nervous, But that's kind of how this is it's an initial thing. That's what you say, it's 7.8 million or whatever the other number was for that program, for sending unarmed responses to that. But yeah, it's a good start. And again, it's all about demonstrating good ideas. It's leadership.
Yeah. I think it's super encouraging. And if you told someone 5 years ago that a district in LA is thinking of doing a cash relief pilot for even 500 households, like people probably say, oh, that'll never happen, but here we are talking about it. Yeah.
Now what I'd like to see is a town, not mine per se, but a town like mine, small town. There's only 1,200 adults over 18 here. And so what if you did 500 here, which is living below poverty line here?
Yeah.
That would
or like West Virginia, like a West Virginia coal mining town. Like that could be transformational.
Kentucky, West Virginia, Mississippi.
Mississippi.
The lowest cost of living.
Only has 30,000 people in a total, and about 10,000 of them live in our city. The entire county has about 30,000 people.
Right.
So yeah, UBI would make a huge impact on areas that are more rural, where you've got smaller populations immediately.
Well, I think that's where Andrew did a good idea where he did that pilot program at one city in New York. I can't remember that city. Shit. But anyway, that's a good idea. Take a whole city and say, okay, we're going to change the zip code here. We're going to make it a difference in his entire zip code. And like he's trying to, like you said, Tom, he's doing 500,000 in New York City.
Yeah.
The lowest 500,000 earners.
Yeah.
Huge.
But what would be super exciting is imagine if a heavy Trump community were identified that was very much ravaged by the industrial kind of transformation and global trade and that kind of thing. And it worked. I mean, that could turn UBI into a real bipartisan movement.
That's
and
actually
people would be like,
that's the most genius thing I've heard yet, Tom. That's a great point, is to go to somewhere like West Virginia where, like you said, a coal mine goes in and out every 10 years.
Yeah.
And every time they bankrupt, they come back 2 years later and hire you for $2 less an hour until you're living at minimum wage, risking your life. That's something that, what's his name? Oh man, Richard Ojeda mentioned that's the scheme they play. They'll file bankruptcy, lay you all off for 2 years, and make you thankful to get $4 less an hour 2 years later. Yeah. And they'll use you and abuse you. They get sued. They file bankruptcy. They open back again for $4 an hour less. Then all of a sudden they're just raking it in. But yeah, I would love to see a red district heavy. I'm talking like 80% district. Have you dropped on their lap.
I think it'd be really interesting.
Good idea. Flood the opposition with positive information about your thing that they can't deny because they're living it.
Yeah. Positive confirmation bias is on your front doorstep. You can't deny the improvement. That's a good point, Tom. I like that. But yeah, so I'm hoping that this will inspire other cities. And of course, we got the mayors for a guaranteed income out there trying to do things all over the country. And we need to get more of those people involved as well. And then we got to find more sources to help fund programs like that in small cities that'll make the biggest differences, in per capita. Yeah, I love it. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys think about this in the comment section. Let us know if you think of a place this would apply better to, not better to, have a bigger impact on your neighborhood. Absolutely. And that'd be a great experiment because again, the totals was how much? $7.75 million is being going to that one thing. So
that's for the unarmed one. The UBI one is $6 million.
Oh, that's right. My bad. Good call. $6 million. So in Michigan, we have some big, rich, wealthy people. We have the Whirlpool Corporation here, the world headquarters in Benton Harbor, Michigan, where I live at. You have DeVos family up in Grand Rapids. I doubt they would fund anything like that. But and then you've got like University of Michigan donors. That there's a lot of wealth in every state, and we could inspire the right people to do the right thing. I think we can do it. That's what I'm hoping for, at least. But yeah, I know, Tom, you got to get moving. And I think me and Mio just do the last one on our own. But I want to say thank you to Tom once again for joining us. Nerds for Humanity is one of the most consistent channels out there doing shit, not just talking about, actually doing something like ofthepeople.us. I love it, Tom.
Thanks, boys. I appreciate your support. And Mia, thanks for helping spread the word on OTP. And hopefully I can come back on. I enjoyed our chat and apologize for having to bounce. I've promised Mrs. Nerd I would clean all the bathrooms in the house today. And
first of all,
I'd much rather live stream with you, to be honest.
Scrubbing them bowls, huh?
Yeah, it's not. She gives me the best jobs. I don't understand how that works. But
first of all, I love that you refer to her. I love that you refer to as Mrs. Nerds. First of all, I love it.
Was that Mia?
That was really cute. Oh, I was just saying, thank you for being a good Mr. Nerd.
Yeah. I do my best. I do my best.
Important.
Papa Nerd.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
you guys keep it real.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you guys next time, like always. Gang. Awesome. Peace. All right. Thanks, Tom. Oop, he's gone. He had to move quickly. Okay. Now I was want to bring this up, guys. I had to keep my face straight, but Soldier, man, huge thank you, man, for donating to the channel. This will go to paying for StreamYard and paying for Adobe Premiere. Right there helps me out for a whole month of the fees I got to pay for this stuff. I really appreciate that, man. That's awesome. And the bull job's not for the faint of heart. Yeah. L, what's up, L? Those bathrooms won't clean themselves. No, sir. But yeah, we got the other article. Let me see if I can pull this up. Nope, that's the museum I'm going to. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I wish I would have asked Tom about this too, because I really want to get his take on it. He might know a little more about this, but oh shit, come on, man. Load, you bastard. There it is. Okay, it's coming up. The end of filibuster. That's what it was about. Yeah, so let me bring that up. So the filibuster is a big talking point right now. Oops, there it is. Okay, let me make sure I got this pulled up right. Okay, yeah, this is the article. Yeah, so next we're going to talk about is ending the filibuster and the big push for that. I'm not sure how I feel about this one, honestly, the filibuster. But let's jump into the article. You good to go, Mia? Alrighty. Bam. What up, Yang Gang? We're back again. we got Mia back in the house, and we're going to be talking about the next article, which is the demand for the filibuster to end under the Biden administration, for him to enact his agenda, if you will. But yeah, so let's bring up this article. This is from the Washington Post on Apple News. And yeah, pressure is building, blah, blah, blah. So it says liberals have long pushed for sweeping changes such as expanding the Supreme Court, which I don't agree with, ending the Electoral College, which I don't agree with, and banning gerrymandering, which I do agree with. As Biden faces a critical stretch of his presidency, even moderate Democrats are urging more immediate changes, particularly rewriting the filibuster so that the very least fewer bills need 60 votes to pass the Senate. And here's a quote from Jeff Merkley from Oregon. It will be a Democratic Party Armageddon in 2022 if we just sit here on our butts and say, oh, we're sorry, we're not as determined to get out our agenda passed as Republicans were. I think those are damning words, and those are great. That's a great quote from Mr. Merkley.
I agree with it.
If they don't get nothing done for the next year, they're done. They're toast. And he's just true. At the same time, it's interesting because Trump's trying to take over control of the Republican Party's finances, and the Democrats are self-imploding and fighting themselves, like punching themselves in the nose. It makes no sense. It's like nobody wants to win anymore.
It's crazy. I don't really understand what's going on myself. Mostly I just think that they have herded themselves all into corners that are hard to fight from.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you guys were talking about this, Tom, and you were talking about how they have things that contradict themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you have that, trying to, keep your house in order is very difficult. If you have people with different ideas and you can't get everybody to unify against or towards one thing, you're not going to make any progress.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is Republicans fall in line, Democrats fall in love. And that's a big different approach where they fall in love with the idea, but they don't fall in line with everyone else's point of view on it. A lot of pushback, which is healthy debate. That is a healthy debate to have. I have no problem with that. But we're at such thin margins that you can't get anything done unless you have 51 people over 50. And then the filibuster allows them to filibuster anything that doesn't get 60 votes. And that's impossible.
Yeah, it is impossible nowadays.
Yeah.
I don't believe that we should have the filibuster. It's just my opinion that it shouldn't be there at all. It never was intended to be there. It doesn't belong there. It's just a mechanic to gum up the works. I understand that it's interrupted some bad legislature, but I think there should be a more effective tool for if something like that happens than the filibuster. We shouldn't be relying on something that was shoved in there to serve a purpose that it was never intended to.
Yeah, I'm still conflicted on it because it stands in the way of progress, but it also slows down digression.
Would you be pro getting rid of the filibuster if we invented a better tool to replace it with that was intended to do the same thing?
Yeah. More means testing for a filibuster is what makes more sense to me. To say, yeah, if this has XYZ effect, then no, we got to have 60. But right now we don't have that, and they're going to filibuster this sucker right out the gate. So I think what the problem is, they put so much into this one package. It has no chance of passing. It really doesn't with a filibuster. If the filibuster's in play, this is just a virtue signal, and it's kind of a stake in a flag in a position like this is where we're at. We're the Democrats. Well, the Republicans are like, not happening. And then they throw in like an anti-trans bill while they're at it too. And it's just impossible because I don't know enough about all the processes to have a good understanding of it all, but there are line item vetoes that you can do. There's amendments you can add to it, and all that kind of rigmarole, like you said, gums everything up. And you've got them discussing it this weekend. I didn't get to watch it. They actually had a debate about it where they actually read all 600 something pages of the thing just to slow it down as like a miniature filibuster. But it's going to be interesting. I think personally you'd have less threat of filibustering if you had smaller packages to say, I'm filibustering all this shit because of these 3 things. Then
that's very true.
Yeah, get those 3 things out of the way, and let's do these 12. Let's pass what we agree upon. Then we'll debate this.
I honestly still don't understand why so many things get packaged together. It seems like I know that it's because they're doing deal making and all that sort of thing and wheeling dealing, but it seems like it's counterintuitive to trying to get things done when you're constantly rolling new things into things. And it's also been very harmful towards the American people because we'll support one thing and then something that we don't support will get attached to it just because they know that we'll want it to push through, so we won't argue.
Yeah, I'm more on the line of single item debates. Where do you stand on A? Not A through Z. I don't like L, M, N, O, and P. So screw the whole alphabet of things. Like 26 items. I don't like those.
Right.
So I'm more of smaller bills, more focused on certain things, and then only allow so many to be attached. I'm not sure. Let me see. Matt says only 6 to 9% of this bill goes towards COVID-19 relief. We still have almost $1 trillion that hasn't been spent from the last 2 COVID relief bills. I've heard that too, but I just haven't seen anything. Like I haven't seen documentation or evidence of this $1 trillion. Like I don't know why. If that's true, what the hell?
If that's true, let's just keep saving up for a couple of more packages and then start a UBI off it.
Well, if there is, Matt, if there is $1 trillion sitting there, why is that not being discussed more? I have heard that talking point before too. And I agree that only 6 to 9% goes towards actual COVID relief because most of it goes to federal or state funds that are part of our normal financing. It's not like it's new. They're not creating other shit to spend it on. It's continuing stuff that's already been there for state and county programs. Because like there's some places that are laying off their cops right now and firefighters because they don't have the money because they're waiting for this COVID relief that's part of their budget to pay for their police and firefighters to keep us safe, So I understand that talking point. I think it should be more direct cash relief, not 6 to 9%, personally. But yeah, it's like again, it's over 600 pages of bullshit. And then they give you the thing. They say, okay, you got 48 hours to read it. Like, come on now, or even less, or a few hours. They've done that. Those midnight votes. I think those should be done away with.
100%.
Yeah, they're doing
There's
these.
No way. Mm-hmm. They should not be passing things they haven't had time to actually read.
That's what one of McConnell's favorite tactics was. Just throw it in there at 10 o'clock. We're voting at midnight. If you're not here, tough shit. It's a weird way of doing it. It's a very, very anti-democratic way of doing things. Any of these things are slowing down democracy. So I would like to see focused packages to say, okay, we're going to talk about voting rights. Sure, let's do that. But not also talk about a fund for studying fish in the Indian Ocean with it. Like, what the hell is that all about? If this is about COVID relief, let's do that one. Then there's the state and local governments. Let's do that one. I don't think they should all be stacked and then nothing gets done. And then cops and firefighters are getting laid off. It's just not productive.
Yeah. No, we need to make sure that everything gets passed through. And when you break things down like that, you do stop as many objections because, like you said, it's over 3 or 4 things, not over the entire bill.
Well, and so like that's why I'm so hesitant about ending the filibuster, because let's say that Georgia didn't win and the House loses seats in 2022. It could be a Republican House and Senate, and then it gets flipped. Like, let's just say the roles reverse, right? Because right now they just put a package up to ban transgender athletes from participating in sports. Just a flat bill. And without a filibuster, and there's 51-50 in the Senate and enough in the House, that could get passed and take away rights. I won't say rights because athletics is not a right, but it is a amendment Title IX.
Well, I would say that it falls under the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, but that's the problem. It's negotiable, and they negotiate away your happiness. No problem.
Yeah.
When it comes to singling out a certain demographic to say you don't have the right to this, but everyone else does, I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, and it's not. They're not experts in the field of transgender studies either, so it's not like they have a valid opinion on this. They are not the people who should be weighing in on it.
Yeah, and I have some questions about transgender, specifically transgender females getting into combat sports and beating the shit out of women.
It's a complicated thing. I can see why there are concerns. Yeah. I'm going to be fair with that, but it's nuanced. It's not the government's place any more than it's their place to get inside of a woman's body. Mm-hmm. They don't know what they're talking about. They have no understanding of what's going on in these fields. They are not the ones who should be regulating it. That's what they have institutions that regulate it and are doing it their own way right now.
Well, I think we need to study. I think we need to study the science of it more. I'm a Joe Rogan fan. I don't always agree with what he says about the transgender issue, but I do agree that it's an unfair advantage when it's physical violence being as part of your competition is physical violence. But that's a nuanced position, and it should have a nuanced response, not a sweeping package saying none of you motherfuckers have rights.
And particularly from a bunch of old white people who do not understand what they're talking about in the first place.
Just old people in general. Yeah. All of them. All the elderly people don't really get what the hell you talking about. You know, you stand up or you sit down to pee, kind of deal. I've heard that a lot coming up.
It's not like technology is evil either. Like when they go in and they can't understand what they're talking about when Mark Zuckerberg's there, it's the same issue. Yeah. You can't legislate something you don't understand. And that is completely what we have going on with them trying to do any sort of trans bills.
Mm-hmm. But that's why I resist the idea of ending the filibuster. Because without that filibuster, that legislation would get passed if the roles were reversed right now. If there's no legislation to protect people from harmful stuff, I agree with that. But, like you can't have it both ways. You can't say, well, I don't want them to have it on this bill, but we should have it to protect this people. It's a really ugly situation. This should be a thing, but it is.
I think that it has a purpose. It doesn't fulfill that purpose in a good way. It's not efficient.
Like I would like to see it more nuanced. If it comes to human rights, voting rights, and constitutional rights, which includes abortion and freedom of religion and all that stuff, that should be not able to be filibustered. But when it comes to stimulus packages,
budgetary and economic concerns,
economics and maybe like foreign policy, we should be a lot more unified on that, as far as I'm concerned. That's just me, my own personal opinion. But I think that's a way of getting a little more nuanced. Just like the whole filibuster can't be applied. It was given some nuance because they said you can't use a filibuster on the reconciliation. They've done that. So let's expand on that and say that's a good idea. Well, let's do one more. I'm conflicted on the filibuster. Right now it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense later.
That's because that's not what it was meant to be for. I mean, it's not a designed tool. It is a improvised tool. If I don't have a hammer and I need to get a nail into something, I could pick up a chair that has like a really hard metal spot on it and jam it into there. The nail will go in, but it's not going to fit right or look pretty. Mm-hmm. So we need something designed to do what the filibuster does in a way that actually works with everything else.
Yeah, I think means testing it to rights and constitutional issues that are given rights, like birth rights in this country, when it comes to voting, when it comes to freedom of choice, when it comes to freedom of religion and freedom from religion. All those things are constitutional rights. I think that should not be subject to the 60-40 vote, personally. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys think about this in the comment section, man. This is a very, very, I won't say toxic topic, but very controversial topic where there's two extremes. Either you are or you are not for the filibuster being here or not being here. I'm a little more nuanced as I just don't know enough to end it. I think we should tweak it. But at the same time, like you said, Mia, it was only introduced in the 80s, I believe it was.
Yeah,
the 70s or 80s.
We can correct that later if it's wrong.
Yeah, it's like the 70s or 80s. They had this is new. It's not like it's a constitutional thing. It's something made up, kind of like Citizens United. They just made some shit up and threw it in there. And they had enough people in the right positions to get it passed. People in the past have been wrong before, and I think they're wrong right now on a few things. So, yeah, you guys,
very much so.
Yeah. So let us know what you guys think about that in the comment section, and make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. You know, the whole 9 yards. And Mia, when's the next Humanity Hang for you guys?
I believe. Let's see, what day is today? Sunday. So we've got one coming up on Tuesday. And then, of course, Friday. And I've given you the Airtable link, and I think you'd like to include those in the little box below. So
yes,
if people are looking for that, you can click on that. That'll give you all of Humanity Forward's events, not just Humanity Hang. So I think we take the most advantage of it.
Yes.
Thank you for mentioning it, boys.
Absolutely. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next time. And like always, yang gang. Bam. All right, so I want to address this. Matt Nelson just says, we want a government that is slow and inefficient. Really? The founding fathers put these barriers on purpose to protect citizens from over control of government. No, the founding fathers didn't put in the filibuster, though.
They did not. The filibuster is its own thing.
It's from the 80s, man. Now, I do agree. It's meant to be a slow process of change because you have the three-party system, checks and balances. I get that. The filibuster was thrown in the 80s, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, in the comments. I think it's in like 80 something. As one specific person wrote the bill, and he was the Mitch McConnell of his time, and he got enough support to do it. I cannot remember what the hell his name was. I did see an article on that a while back.
And I would definitely say that I don't think that it should be inefficient. It could be slow without being inefficient.
I think inefficient is not a good word, Matt. But I don't want to say slow. Just we want a functional government. I don't give a shit how fast or how slow. Get shit done that helps the most people possible with the least amount of resources to be efficient. I think it should be efficient, not inefficient.
Maybe like with the social issues and such, it should be less efficient because that takes a lot of discussion. Those are moral, philosophical things that people still haven't figured out to this day. But with the math, with the economics, with getting things done that are a matter of measuring facts and statistics, those should be easy and should be getting through easy.
Oh, okay, Matt, here we go. He says the first Senate filibuster occurred in 1837, 1841. The dividing moment came during debate on a bill to charter a new national bank. A filibuster in 1837. Interesting. Because I saw a thing about the bill being the filibuster being let me look at filibuster. Let me see here. Sorry, guys, I'm just looking this up. So I never heard that one. Let's see here. Oh shit. Okay, it had a change in 1964. It says a time delaying tactic by the minority. For 60 days. So it's not part of the U.S. Constitution, though. It was not by the founding fathers. Okay, yep. Okay, Matt. So in 1806, they changed the Senate rules to allow for I think they called it a filibuster yet, but it wasn't used until 1837. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, thanks, Matt. That's more information. Yeah. So it wasn't in the Constitution. There was something like it in 1807, but not used until 1806. I'm sorry. Yeah, I need to read up more on that. Thanks, man. I like that. That's more information.
Always good to have expanded knowledge.
Yeah.
The more you know.
But so I was wrong about that. So there was an article, a Fox News article that I read actually about the senator that wrote this, that wrote the bill on a filibuster. I don't know if it just changed how it could be used or what, or maybe it wasn't a means on the, you know what it was? Now I can think about it. It was for the, that's when they changed it to where it can't be applied to the ways and not the ways and means. The thing Bernie's doing right now. What the hell is that called? They're doing right now. The process they're using right now to get it funded. Shit.
Reparations?
No.
Reconciliation was what I was
reconciliation. Thank you. Right. So in the 70s or 80s, when the reconciliation was used for budgetary reasons to say you can't filibuster it and shut down the government. That's what it was. There it is.
Reparations. That would be very different.
Big difference.
Big difference.
Yeah, but the filibuster as is it's not working. It's slowing us down to a point where it's preventing anything from happening. But here's the thing. The filibuster shouldn't matter if we had more concise bills being written. It'd be easier to pass and less filibuster needed. Filibusters there, fine, whatever. But if we have a better package, that makes more sense to me, man. You gotta. That's why I don't want to be a U.S. Congressperson. This is ridiculous. It's out of my pay grade.
It needs tweaking, and the way they've got it tangled up right now is going to be very difficult to tweak.
Yeah, but man, that's a good thing you said that, man. I was talking out of pocket about that then. New National Bank. Interesting. I thought Hamilton took care of the National Bank. That's the only music I've ever listened to. But yeah, so I actually would love to do more research on this filibuster thing because I thought I had an understanding of it, but I forgot that I mixed it up because it's a filibuster and an application to the reconciliation application. But yeah, so I'm still, like I said, I'm a little bit wishy. I'm not totally have my mind made up on the filibuster thing. I understand why someone would be against it. I understand why someone would be for it. I don't know.
I'm neither for nor against it. I'm for reforming it.
Yeah. I'm just for better legislation. A filibuster should only be used in extreme cases. When extreme legislation comes up, be like, you're out of your fucking mind? No way. That's insane. But to have it applied across the board willy-nilly to everything you feel like, it just doesn't make sense to me either. You're just being obstructionist then. And I feel like the Republicans have, when they're not in control, that's their, well, with either party's the minority, that's their go-to move, just be obstructionists. To slow down whatever the other party's trying to do. Even if it has good shit in it. That's what frustrates me. Even if there's good stuff in it you agree with, you don't. So if you agree on shit, do that shit. If you don't, let's debate it next week. But this week, let's pass the shit that makes sense. So I don't know. I don't know, guys. But yeah, so I'll go ahead and get to work and editing this shit again, man. I really thank you for your time once again. Me, of course. Thank you to Soldier for that $100 donation, dude. That really helps me pay the bills here. I ain't gonna lie, man. It gets expensive. Yeah. What? Andrew is not throwing away his shot. Hamilton reference. Nice.
He isn't either. He's definitely taken his shot to where it can go.
Good point here too, man. Reading green eggs and ham in Congress. See, that is a good point that someone said that the filibuster should not allow you to go off topic. That would
be a great amendment to add to it immediately.
Yeah.
Like if you are going to hold up Congress on a bill, you should absolutely be discussing that bill. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you have to talk nonsense about that bill. It should be about that bill.
I think one time Bernie filibustered something. He stood on the floor for 24 hours and talked uninterrupted for 24 hours.
And I don't think there's not any green eggs and ham in it.
Not that one. That was somebody else. But for Bernie to stand there and not piss himself for 24 hours, like how the hell? He must have had like a condom catheter or something, man.
I actually believe there was one guy who came in and took the stage for a little bit so that he could take a small break. If I remember correctly, I have the book. I read it, and it's been a while though. So
okay,
for sure.
Yeah, I just heard he did a 24-hour deal, man. That's impressive.
Yeah, there was a dude I think who was also with him on the speech and like helped prolong the filibuster by giving him a brief break, and then he came back and did more. But I could be misremembering that, as I said.
But the filibuster, it can't stop legislation; it can delay it, right? So I don't understand enough about how it works as far as like, is there a time limit on a bill? I guess I gotta learn more. I go
The
review.
idea is just to get people to give up on it until they just don't do it anymore.
The longest one was 3 days of continuous discussions. Wow. And it's usually an empty room. Everybody else goes the fuck home. They're not talking about shit. I'm going home. It's fucking theater, man. It's theater. Just vote. If it requires 60, it requires 60. If it requires 51, it gets 51. Filibustering is just a silly.
Well, in Bernie's case, when he was doing it, all right. So it was they were doing the Wall Street bailouts, and he did not want them to bail out the banks.
That's Obama's 2008 package, right?
Yep. Yeah. And he was hoping the attention from the filibuster would get people calling in to stop it. So his intent was to stall, but his intent wasn't to stall for nothing. He was hoping that the American people would be outraged enough to call in and get them to reverse the legislation. That didn't happen. Right. He still tried. But so that is the nobler side of the filibuster, right?
Yeah, but can the filibuster, so the filibuster says it has to pass with 60 votes? Like, I don't understand enough about that. I need to read up on that, guys. That's my bad. But a filibuster is a delay.
Filibuster. You have to have that. To stop them from doing a filibuster, you have to have that many votes.
So but here's the thing. They need 60 votes to not have a filibuster. Okay, they don't have it. So HR 1's going to the Senate floor tomorrow. And they're going to start discussing it. So they can discuss it for 3 days to break the record, whatever. A whole week, who gives a shit, right? But at the end of the week, they're going to vote on it. Does it need 60 votes then to pass? Or is it just 51-50 then? And here's the thing. There's already some Democratic pushback on this thing. For like what Matt said was some federal overreach, I believe, on voting states' rights. So I'm just curious.
It does need the 60, or it would have to go through the same process as.
Oh, so they filibuster until it gets 60 votes. They keep voting and voting and voting. I think that's what it is. And it won't pass until it gets 60, and they filibuster. Ugh. They discuss and they bullshit and they perform more theater.
Yep. Get the numbers to drop. If not everybody's there, the numbers aren't there,
How do we want? Yes, I do, specifically because it's for automatic voter registration. I'll bring up that tweet. I kind of Nina Turner. Oh, where'd it go? Nina Turner tweet. Tell you what, Mia, I love this Google Doc shit, man. It helps me, got me organized tonight. I used the same one from last time. So it enacts automatic voter registration. Wait, can you guys see what I'm doing? Yeah, okay. Wait, no, you can't. Uh-oh, I'm sharing the wrong thing.
Yeah, you're sharing a different article than the tweet.
Okay, so this kind of wraps it all up. HR 1 enacts automatic voter registration, ends gerrymandering every 10 years. They do a new districting, set up public financing of election, which is the 6-to-1 match of small donors up to $200, expand early voting, prevent voter purges, exposes dark money, which I don't really think I don't understand what that even means. That's a vague term, but counter Citizens United, which I also agree with. Yeah.
There's a lot of good in it.
So Matt says the filibuster's purpose is to protect against blind majority rule. Yes, the filibuster. Yeah, okay. Simple majority. If you break the filibuster rule, then you need break the if they end that rule. Yeah. So I think it is. They just keep bullshit until they get 60 votes, or they just give up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just delay. Again, it's fucking theater, man. Either you got the votes or you don't. Because here's the thing. If they don't agree, if this is never going to pass because they'll never get 60 votes, they're wasting time when they could be writing better legislation and come back at it.
Yeah, if you want it to be a virtue signal, then get the virtue signal done and move on to something actually actionable.
Yeah, so I think that's what's going to happen is they're going to say, okay, we don't agree on this. Everybody says no to these things. Remove it and make a smaller package. That's what it should have been in the first place. It's just bullshit. It drives me insane. Again, I don't know enough about this. I'm just trying to learn as I go too. I understand some basics, but I don't know. I don't have time to be a civics major. Shit, man, it's too
Not
much.
yet.
It's too much.
We really, if people like, subscribe, share.
Then I can do, if I can do this full time, then I can do some legit research. Good Lord, I would really enjoy that. This would be my job, is to go research these articles and have way more information. Have people like Matt. You can help me, bro. No, but no, we do need more pushback. We need more research, and it's really hard to do, man. It's just a couple of volunteers. It's tough, man, to get all the work done. You got other shit to do to make money, so you can pay your bills.
A normal life to try and live.
Yeah, or a life. Did you know they reproduced most of the Hamilton musical with a? Oh, brother, that's cheesy. I would not like that. I don't think.
I don't know. Depends on how well done it is.
Leave Hamilton alone. It is so. That's my first musical I ever watched.
Oh, I've watched so many musicals. It's embarrassing how many musicals I've watched.
I'm not a musical person. I'm not a musical guy, but Hamilton was outstanding. You know. So Jody says HR 1 also makes it impossible for third parties due to funding changes. Impossible? I don't think so.
Wouldn't the matching funding be good for a Green Party and such? Like,
I don't think it says you have to be specifically a Democrat or Republican. I could be wrong. Again, I don't know enough to know about this, but I'd like to know more about it, Jody. If you have any kind of information on that, it'd be good.
Yeah, because the campaign matching seems it would be really useful for third parties.
Well, if you're small donors, up to $200.
Yeah, I mean, Green Party is mostly small donors, right?
Jimmy Carter's Nonpartisan Election Reform Commission of 2005 would be against a lot of things in HR 1. Jimmy Carter wasn't in office in 2005. I don't understand that one. Maybe that's just the name of it. But Matt, do you have a problem with expanding voter rights to make it easier to vote? Are you okay? Let me do one item at a time, Matt. Are you against automatic voter registration? Because he's the chair of the Republican Party of the neighboring county. Are you against automatic voter registration? 1, that makes it easier to vote. 2, are you against same-day voter registration? 3, are you against open primaries? 4, are you against gerrymandering reform? I think both parties should want gerrymandering to end, because there's a lot of blue districts that are like a goddamn keyhole thing. It's ridiculous. All of it's ridiculous. There should be no 80% wins in some districts because it's always 80%. It should always be like 50-50. It should be a really close tie to me. That's how I'd like to see elections done. And then people can be swung by better policies, or proposed policies, because nobody gets what they want done. Those are the things I want to know. Like, is the Republican Party's pushback on this is just specifics, or is it just everything? You don't want more people to vote?
I am curious which parts it is that they are specifically upset about.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I'm interested in. Setting
down a ground floor for what is and is not acceptable, it does not feel to me like federal overreach.
And mail-in voting, what's the problem with mail-in voting? They've already done it forever. I did it in the military twice when I was in the military. I used remote or mail-in voting.
I'm too poor to afford a car, and I'm sure there's plenty of people in my position as well. Mail-in voting for us makes it a lot easier to be able to, actually get to vote.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to clear my watch. It's making it ring a lot. But yeah, I would like to know people's individual pushbacks on this. Matt, by the way, me and you are supposed to be doing a live stream sometime, man. Hit your boy up this week. We could do one. That'd be fun to break down HR 1, the pushback from your point of view and the pushback from my point of view. And I'm not left. I'm more, I consider myself a pragmatic humanist. If it makes sense and it helps people, I'm for it. If it hinders people's rights, I'm definitely not for it. But I'm a pragmatic humanist.
I like that.
That's my new term. I'm actually gonna make a shirt for that one, a pragmatic humanist. And try and get those out there and be like, hey guys, this is what I'm about. pragmatism and humanism. And secularism has got nothing to do with it. Like the Constitution protects everyone. What Hardy has says, "Oh, I would skip work to watch." No, you won't have to because I got to work too. So Matt is oops. The devil's in the details. A lot of these things sounds good, but there are problems behind them. For instance, Act Blue takes large dollar donation and breaks them up to disperse to many candidates. I would like to see evidence of that. That sounds like a conspiracy theory to me. So yeah. And I agree, devil are in the details for sure. But that seems like a conspiracy theory approach. Act Blue is gonna, and here's the thing, Matt. Does Act Blue only do it for Democrats? Probably not. If that's true, let's say if that's true.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but isn't Act Blue the Democrats' fundraising mechanism specifically?
I have no idea.
I think it is. I don't think the Republicans used Act Blue because
I don't think
they have like Act Red or something.
I don't think. Yeah, there'd be an Act Red, I guess. That's true. Good point. So Matt, yes, I'm sure it is Democratic only. Oh, listen to me. They won't get mad. Oh, 25K. So they have to raise $25,000 on their own donations or with the matching funds, or it's only after they get $25,000. And honestly, if you can't raise 25K, you're in trouble anyway. 25K is not a lot of money when it comes to politics. That's a fucking entry fee. And I understand why they do that too, because that way I can't run for office and get you to donate to me. I get like 50 people to donate $20. 20 times 6 is 120 times 50. I've got $600. And I'm not a real candidate. Not a serious candidate. Yeah. On their own donations. Okay. For their own people. Yeah. Well, I think 25K is unfortunately is not a lot of money in politics. It's a lot of money to me. That would be a 50% increase in my wages. Yeah. There's the military alone has been doing mail-in voting forever. The president of the United States usually does mail-in voting. So let's be real. And so yeah, my biggest pushback is what are those details that everybody wants to push back on? And if Act Blue gets a donation and they break it up into smaller donations, that doesn't make sense to me because I use secure Act Blue donation links to candidates, so it's to a specific person. So I don't know how that. I'd like to see what evidence Matt could bring up for that because I'd like to see more about that specifically.
I do remember that there was a Hillary Clinton thing going on in 2016 where she was taking donations that were supposed to also then go to down ballot candidates, and Act Blue, or she signed a specific contract with the DNC. And that turned out to be problematic. I'd have to look into it again. It's been a while, but there are, fundraising schemes that go on within Act Blue.
Okay, here we go. I personally researched Act Blue myself. You'll see donations from California, New York, and Washington, D.C. residents that go to Michigan State House candidates. I don't understand how that works then. I really just don't. I haven't looked into it myself.
You're donating to the committee, not necessarily specifically to the candidate in some way.
Well, yeah, if you're using that to donate to a PAC, then that's how
gets redistributed.
That's how PACs work. That goes both ways. I'm sure Trump can do the same thing. I'm sure he does do that, and he does it to himself.
When you donate to a specific candidate, it only goes to that specific candidate. However, they do general fundraising hauls.
Yes.
They do other kind of fundraising where they group money together from multiple different sources. Mm-hmm. So you will see some money come from Act Blue to other states than where they were donated from, because that money's getting relocated because the person wasn't donating to a specific candidate when they donated. It doesn't just do candidate donations.
So if I donate to my local representative, it goes to them. But if I donate to a PAC, that's how PACs work. So that's not a red versus blue thing or left right. That's across the board. So they all do it. So I really don't have a problem with that. I think it's bullshit.
If I live in Michigan and I donate to a or to help fund
New York City's
ranked choice
mayoral
voting actions, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't go necessarily to a specific candidate. That goes to where ranked choice voting needs more money.
It's on the ballot. Yeah.
Is on the ballot. So that's kind of where you get those kind of discrepancies.
Yeah, I can't wait to have this thing with Matt because Matt's good people, man. Just so you guys know, he went to the same high school I did, and he was an all-state wrestler, a really good wrestler. He wrestled at the academies, or the Army Academy, I believe it was, Matt, at the Citadel, and he served 22 years in the U.S. Military. So I have nothing but respect for him, and he's a lifelong conservative, and he's actually stepping up to be a leader, which I don't frown upon that for anybody, no matter what your position is, man. He's doing something about it. I'm all for that, and I love to have both oppositions. I just learned a lot just from him in the comments section. Imagine how much more we can get understanding with an actual live stream with a long form discussion. I think that's going to be beneficial for all of us to hear more. But the Secure Act Blue link sounds like a little bit of bullshit where it's being critical of one side of the aisle when it's being done on both sides. So I'm curious that I'm sure that goes both ways. If it's not illegal, they're both doing it. That's for damn sure. I'd like to hear what Matt would think about also about the fact that Trump is doing the cease and desist order to the RNC on using his name for fundraising because he wants them to donate to his PACs only. Then he'll decide who the candidates are they're going to support. He's trying to take their role over. It's how it looks, at least. I'm sure it's what it is because he wants to be the leader of everything. He wants to be a totalitarian of the Republican Party.
Oh, this is not going to end well for them. I can say that with guaranteed.
Yeah, I'm curious.
It's not going to go well, regardless. Yeah. Like, if you let Trump take over the party entirely, he has a scorch and burn policy, right?
Well, he just lost an election, so he doesn't have numbers on his side anymore. So I don't know.
And he destroys what doesn't work for him. So
burns bridges.
If you fail him, he leaves a wave of destruction in his path, and you're in that destruction. So it seems like a really bad idea to follow somebody like that for an entire party. I can understand for the presidential thing, but like to continue it still, it's a bad march. It's not going to end well.
I don't know. I'm curious. We'll see how it goes, But yeah, let me go ahead and jump off here, guys. I got to start doing some editing and get busy on some thumbnails and blah, 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 blah. Then pick up my daughter from work in a while and maybe watch a ball game. I doubt it. But thanks again, Mia. I appreciate your time. And we'll do it again on, I got to look at my kid's basketball schedule. He's actually back on the team. He had his surgery and he's recovered, quote unquote. But he didn't get to play this last time. He just got cleared, so I don't think he's going to be doing anything. Oh, Jody, HR 1 eliminates grants for third parties that get 5% of vote, plus no more campaign donations, limits up to $100 million. There are hidden details. 5% of the vote? See, I don't like that.
The Green Party never actually, there hasn't been a party that's gotten to 5% of the vote in so many years. That seems like it's actually a really bad standard to me.
Yeah, Ross Perot was the last one for the independent, as an independent party. Plus no more campaign limits up to 100 million. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I got to break this thing down. I don't know enough, and I just don't have the time to read all that shit, to tell you the truth. But I don't like the idea of eliminating grants for third parties that get 5% of the vote. That, to me, is the DNC, RNC duopoly bullshit. Not okay with that.
Yeah, I think that as far as like what I would do to change that, I would drop the rate that it takes for them to get it. Because how many people is that? Like, that might have made sense at one point. But how many people in our country would that have to be 5% of the population?
5% of the voting population. That's a big difference. Yeah.
That's still a shit ton of people.
Yeah.
Like, with as big as we are. And
Ross Perot, Ross Perot got like 12%.
And was independently wealthy.
Yes.
To
absolutely.
ridiculous degrees.
Yep. But yeah, so I'm trying to say the next one. Can you do Wednesday?
Wednesday. Yeah, I think Wednesday's fine.
Okay, we'll try and do another on Wednesday. And who knows what's going to change by then. We can talk about the filibuster because they're going to be doing it.
Yeah, it'll probably be active in play then, huh?
Oh, hey, we just got somebody from the Republican reached out to me. He's running for, is a Republican in the District 11 of Pennsylvania, Morgan Dodd. Okay, yeah, man, for sure. And I met him. I know who he is. Yeah, Morgan. I talked to him in Iowa, actually. But yeah, so hopefully, Matt, me and you can touch base and set up something sometime because he's actually building a business that helps rural people become entrepreneurs. And he's got a studio he built, man. He's put a lot of resources into this thing, man. So I hope he does great things. Marcus Coleman, fellow veteran. What's up, brother? But yeah, guys, I appreciate your guys' time hanging out so much for help support this channel. This up and coming Trickle Up YouTube channel is my new project. My own personal Mindful Skeptics one is kind of on the back burner. I do shit over there, but this is my focus now to really make this a viable thing.
When mics attack.
Yes. I bumped my little stand here. But yeah, guys, we're gonna try and do it again on Wednesday. Wednesdays, I gotta work. And so the earliest the live stream will be is probably like 6 or 7 p.m. at the earliest. So that's about when we'll go on. Unless something else comes up that I don't see in my calendar. So we'll do it again on Wednesday, guys, and I'll be making clips for the next couple of days of all this stuff. So we'll have some fun. All right, guys. Thanks again, Mia.
Yep. Bye, boys.